Hello everyone. Today is our lesson number 9 in which we will do scrolling and adding foliages. As we have completed all our elements, so today we will start learning how to do our compositions, how to place flowers. Scrolling means to move around on any surface to create a pattern, and just like a snake scroll on any surface. There are three keys to the arabesque, or you can say three fundamentals of scrolling to create a pattern. The first one is eternal spiral. It is very important, no matter you are doing khatai technique or you're doing any Rumi technique. This is the basis of all the techniques. Number second is the symmetry. It is very important. The symmetrical structures are very important in art of illumination. And the third one is the rhythm and the balance. So these are the basic keys or three basic fundamentals of scrolling which you have to remember throughout the technique. Now coming towards our first key, that is the eternal spiral. Eternal spirals are basically the centrifugal movement of any line which reflects the progression of that creation from one point to the infinity. The important point in drawing eternal spiral is that it should be harmonious. You can see in my first picture, it's not balanced all around. So what you need to do is you have to draw a spiral which is balanced from all its layers. I'm drawing circles just for the reference so that you can see the spaces are equal. You can use a compass for this purpose, or you can use it freehand. If you are drawing the spiral which is not balanced from all sides, then it would be considered wrong. So it's very important to balance, to draw a balanced or harmonious spiral. The spiral must be balanced and harmonious. One more thing I want to add up here, your spiral lines must not be shaky, or it shouldn't have any dent or a flat part. Rather, your spiral must be very smooth and in ongoing manner, no matter how many layers you go inside. So it's very important point in creating compositions. So this is the first point, the harmony and the balancing of the spiral. Now coming towards the second point in eternal spiral, it is the bifurcation of your spiral. Definitely when we do the composition, we will oscillate on the whole surface, and for that we need to bifurcate and bifurcate those spirals which we are creating. So the important point in bifurcation is the flow. The flow of the spiral must be very smooth. If you are seeing, these are the two spirals which are gradually separating from each other. If you are drawing the spiral in which the branch is suddenly popping out, you can see in this it's suddenly popping out. There is no flow that is coming to from the backwards. It's a branch which is coming from the backwards and is smoothly divides into two. If its flow it's not smooth and it abruptly pops out, then it would be wrong. These are the simply minor points which you need to remember. Okay, so in bifurcation, the flow, and in first point, the harmony. So these are the two important points for drawing the eternal spirals. Now after balancing, bifurcation, we will do a third key in drawing the eternal spiral, that is the addition of fractures. If you are seeing the flow, it's going inwards, the spiral is going inwards. Now this spiral is further bifurcate. Every spiral can bifurcate in the opposite direction. That is a very important. But sometimes what we can do is the spiral doesn't go inwards. If you notice a plant growing, its leaves pop out from its stem just in this manner in upwards direction. But if its stem got broken, then leaves will come downwards. It will remain attached, but its direction will turn down. So it's called as fracture. we will do it in the scrolling too. This spiral going inside, this is a simple spiral which is going inside. But what will we do for fracture? We'll do it in opposite direction. We'll bifurcate the spiral, but then all of a sudden we'll fracture it, or we'll turn it in the opposite direction. So this is called as fracture. These are the three important points: balancing, bifurcation, and adding the fractures. It's not mandatory to add fractures every time. If you have no space to make a proper round spiral, then you can add a fracture over here. Now, the second fundamental basis of arabesque is the symmetry and the structure. The symmetry is basically the spiral sections which are repeated again and again to refill your whole surface. It is very important to a harmonious design, and it exemplifies the completeness and perfection and the desire for the unity. I'll show you some of the art pieces just to explain what is symmetry. We'll do it later in detail about the replication. If you see this pattern, you can see the half of the pattern is completely mirrored. So it's a symmetrical pattern. When we fold it, we'll get a single pattern. Okay, so the first half we draw and the second half we replicate it. And in this whole pattern, you can see the patches are continuously repeated. So this is called as symmetry, in which we repeat again and again a single pattern to complete a whole figure. In every art piece you can see this is the main key. Okay, let's analyze this pattern. This is the simplest pattern, which very easy flowers. If you have noticed, this pattern has 4 sections. Okay, and if you divide this pattern into 4 sections and look carefully, the pattern is only in a quarter of this picture, and the rest of the 3 sections are the replica of that patch, or you can say the mirror of that patch. So this replication gives a completeness to this picture. Everything is get attached to each other and give a full one piece picture. If you see in this marginal pattern, this is a Bitkisel pattern. These are no khatai technique. In this pattern also, the patches are repeated continuously. Now, the third key to the arabesque is the rhythm. Rhythm and the balance means in which the arabesque tessellates across the surface with an even rhythm and the texture. The design vibrates and oscillates evenly like a sea waves. This effect is also created by the repetition and the careful, even arrangement of the motifs. If you have noticed, the spirals are continuously bifurcating and getting attached to each other. The pattern is not dispersed all around, or you can say if there are one portion has the small spirals and the other has the large round spiral, so it is actually breaking then the rhythm. So this is what we call rhythm, that equal portions, harmonious patterns oscillates on your surface. There will be no left out pattern, or you can say there will be no flower which is not attached to the scroll, or leaving a small scroll behind which is not attached to any rest of the patterns. So this is how we add flowers and then bifurcate and evenly oscillates all around. So this is very important point to maintain, and the patterns shouldn't be dispersed. This is very important to remember. The pattern shouldn't be dispersed. Keep remember my point. When we will do compositions, students do these mistakes usually. They left out a single scroll, just a flower with 2 leaves in the corner, and don't attach it with the rest of the scrolling. Now we have drawn our spiral. We bifurcated, we added fractures. Now it's time to add foliages. Foliages means to add the cluster of the leaves. You have to remember here the main point, that is by while adding uh, leaves, the branches must pop out in the direction of your spiral. For example, I'm drawing this spiral, you can see, in 3 layers. So the important point you need to remember while adding foliages is the direction of the flow of your spiral. So I'm adding here my foliages. You can see the direction is going upwards, so my branches will come out like this. For your ease, you can rotate your paper. If you add this branch, this is going in opposite direction, it's not in the flow of a spiral, so that would be wrong. So what you need to do, you can rotate your paper uh, with your spiral. As your spiral is moving, you can easily rotate your paper and draw your foliages. This will really help you in drawing, but once you are practiced and understand the positions, add these foliages in upright position of your paper. So point number 2 is adding the alternate branches of leaf, or you can say pop out the alternate branches. It's not mandatory, it's not necessary. You can draw the simultaneous leaves, but sometimes it will create a overcrowded space and the leaves will look like a mess. So it's recommend to draw or to add the foliages alternatively. Now we have added the foliages. It's time to draw the leaves. The leaf direction is very important. If you notice a plant, the leaf curved surface would be downward facing. If your leaf is upward facing, it would be definitely wrong. Na? It's not naturalistic. So your leaf direction must be down facing. So if you're adding a leaf, its direction must be down facing. You can easily rotate your paper as per your ease, or you can add those leaves simply. You can add any sort of leaf here. Try to add simple yaprak leaves. You can add a little bit foldings, or you can add simple one teeth, but this direction would be very important. If you look in upright position of the paper, you will see the leaves are upward facing, but it's not wrong because it's actually following the flow of the spiral. If you rotate the paper, or you can see the flow, it's coming, the vine which is going upwards, then downwards, then upwards and downwards. So with this flow, the leaf positions will remain same. It will be downwards, but definitely when the vine is coming downwards, the leaf will be facing upwards. Now another important point is the stem of this leaf, which is coming out of your scroll. You cannot draw these leaves directly on the scroll. You must pop out a small stem out of your scroll and then draw leaf on it. Direct attachment of the leaf is considered wrong. Here we have completed. Now going through while adding foliages, what you need to remember is the direction of the flow. You must follow the direction of your spiral, either it is going upwards or downwards, and the addition of the leaves or foliages in alternate way you can add simultaneously, but it's also correct, but uh, prefer it to put it in alternate way. Okay, now the third point is the direction of the leaf. The leaf must be downwards facing, it shouldn't be upward facing. That is completely wrong. And the attachment of the leaf must not be direct, it should be attached with a stem to the scroll. So these are the main points which you need to remember while adding the foliages to your spirals. Just in case if you want to add a fracture, then what would be the leaf direction? For example, I am drawing a fracture. I pop out a foliage and then take it in the opposite direction. The leaf would be then upward facing. Why? Because the scroll pop outs, but then it goes in the opposite way. So the leaf is same. If you look, the leaf attached to the scroll is same, but due to the fracture it seemed to us in the upward facing. So our last point is adding fracture, and draw leaves following the direction of your fracture. The directions are very important, even not even in the placing the leaves, but also in placements of flowers. Now coming towards adding flowers after adding leaves, I'll follow the 5 steps instructions which you need to follow. The first one is drawing the eternal spiral. I'm going to just summarize what we have done. Firstly, draw eternal spiral. Then the second step is adding foliage and fractures. While bifurcating, the flow is very important. Keep remember, I have added one fracture and one continuous spiral. Now third step is placement of flowers. We'll not draw the final flowers, rather we'll put some circles, ovals or teardrops, whatever type of flower you want to use. You can put that different sizes. So this is just our spiral. Correct choice of position is also very important. It's important to put the flowers on every bifurcating point, but it's not mandatory. You can start from any kind of flower. I'm drawing a circle. You can use any oval or any teardrop shape. You can use different sizes of flower if you find the space is less, so you can use a small flower. So I have added different sizes of circles on different positions. The flower must not collide with each other. There should be proper distance in between the flowers. It shouldn't be like adding flower, 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 flower. You should leave the spaces in between so that you can add the foliages over there. Okay, avoid using the big flowers like 8 petal flowers or the flowers with so many layers. It will definitely make the place overcrowded, and you cannot add those flowers on a scroll. So better to use it in the middles. Now the fourth step is drawing the final shape of flower and adding the foliages and the leaves. The direction of flow is not only important in adding the leaves, it is also very important in placement of flowers. As I'm drawing a 5 petal bench, so the single top flower must be in forward direction so that it shows it's following the flow of the spiral. And as you notice, the spiral is starting from here. So in first circle I'm going to add hunchagul, that is a flower bird. So its direction must be in the direction of your flow of spiral. So the top petal must be in forward direction. If you add a straight punchagul here, like in this direction straight, then it would be wrong. You cannot add this in this direction, as the spiral is coming from backside. Now the spiral has turned, so the pinch is following its direction and its top part is in front. Now you can see the spiral is going upwards now. So I'm going to draw a 3-petal flower here. As the space is very less, I drew a circle very small, so I'm drawing a 3-petal flower, but you can see the top part is in the direction of your spiral. The spiral is going upwards, so the flower is also facing upwards. Now the spiral has turned. I'm drawing here a hatai flower. As you can see, even if I'm not adding the arrow keys, you can understand the flow while looking at the flower direction. Now I'm going to add the leaves, and for adding leaves you also need to follow the flow of direction. At the end of the spirals, you can add the bigger leaves with some teeth, with some foldings, but on the spiral prefer to draw the simple yapraks. After adding all leaves on the scroll, if you find some spaces, you can pop out simple leaves from your flowers, from your sides, but it also must be in curved spiral direction. You can see I have popped out a single leaf from this 5-petal bench, and as it's big in size, so I'm adding teeth. It cannot be smaller in size. All yapraks on your scroll must be in same size. Prefer to draw the big leaves at the end of the scrolls. I have added here a side folded leaf. Similarly, you can add anywhere any kind of leaf. You can add round surface leaf, but for all leaves try to draw a basic structure. Then those leaves must be in uh, simple directions, same directions, and must be of same sizes. Now coming towards our last step in instruction is doubling the scroll. It's your choice. If you want to keep it single, you can keep it single, but then you need to be very careful while doing painting or filling it with the paints. You need to be very precise with your brush. This doubling will help in putting the correct amount of paint and then getting an equal or balanced thickness of your spiral. You can see I have ended the stems of these leaves, or I have tapered it properly. Your scroll must be of same thickness all around. You cannot draw a thick scroll on some side or a thin scroll somewhere. So you need to be very precise with your compositions. You need to be very harmonious. You need to follow the directions and must be in a flow. These are very important points which you need to follow while composing a pattern. So here we have completed all our 5 steps in composing our pattern or our design. What just summing up, what you need to remember is adding foliage and fracture. Your thickness must be same. Your direction must follow the flow of your spiral. Your leaves must be down facing. No matter you are drawing your spirals in a horizontal way or in a vertical way, or you are just roaming around in a haphazard manner, but your spiral must be harmonious. So I'm just showing you a vertical scrolling. You can just add the scrolls, and if you look carefully, or if you notice, the scrolls on top of each other or bifurcating scrolls are in opposite directions. The scroll cannot bifurcate in same direction. Most of the students do this mistake, so I'm pointing out it earlier. Please remember this point. Scrolls can never be bifurcate in same direction. They must be in opposite directions.